Uh, Salotto guys, welcome. We're joined by Reed and Colby from Salotto, and of course, there's Molina Mike up in the corner, his nitty self as
You're
always.
you're not gonna be able to introduce the show if this is like what you're gonna be saying. By the way,
I'm
we
dogging it.
need you. We need you to up your game. Have some enthusiasm. All
Let's
right, it's
build some
Tuesday
psych.
morning.
I didn't even know there was a show today. You just told me last minute. So what do you expect? Hey guys, let us know if you can
Bitter
hear us
party of
and see
one.
us okay.
Yeah, we're good. Melina, Joey, it's nice to be on. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, welcome. We wanted to have you guys on, and first of all, I just want to say that I'm kind of bummed today because I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's only gonna have a high of like 62 today,
Oh,
and
yeah?
yeah, only
Yeah.
62, so it's gonna be a little chilly out here. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with it.
That's
Uh,
rough. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got more snow last night than any other day except for December 4th, 1982.
no way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
See,
it's the
it's
record.
79 right now. It's pretty
Yeah,
brutal
that's
down south for us.
79 degrees.
Yeah, and it's only gonna get warmer. So
that's great
tough.
news. Yeah, we
You guys
literally saw over 24 inches of snow overnight.
Wow.
Wow.
Are you serious? Is that even possible?
Yeah,
It is possible.
it's
Oh my
ridiculous.
gosh. Well,
Hey,
hey,
look
we
at
got
that.
some folks. We got some
Garrett
folks
Williams,
joining
thanks,
in.
man. We try to be good servants of our customers and the industry. Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah, so Garrett Williams comments and Corby Dayhoff. Good morning, guys. They can hear us and see us okay, so we're good to kind of jump in and get rolling. So, guys, we've had you on before a while ago, but I found that with Fargo rate kind of expanding throughout the country to different regions and stuff, that there's people who might not have heard of Salotto yet, or they want to know kind of what you guys are doing. So, why don't you just kind of give an overview of what you guys are doing, and then we'll kind of get into some of the details.
Yeah, no worries. We're the third of three entities that can submit data to Fargo right now at this point. So it used to be tournaments only, and then they brought in league data and started taking leagues, and then now they take Salotto data as well, which is a 1v1 utility for competitive pool players to submit their matches to Fargo rate.
So how'd you guys get started with the idea?
Oh, it was like 2018 probably. Colby and I were playing a lot of pool at the time, just in our basements, and Colby came up with the idea. He basically set off the cuff. What if there was a utility to make these matches count, like an app? And I thought, this is a really cool idea because we play pool in leagues, we play pool in tournaments, but how do you make these matches on your home table or a bar table or a room table count when there's not an event going on? So we did a little market research, applied for a state grant in the state of Wyoming. We beat 22 other businesses to win what's called a Wyoming Kickstart grant. And we were awarded that in April of 2019. And then at that point, we started development and so worked with an investment group to build a little bit more capital to get moving. And now today is the day where we've seen, I think, over 300,000 racks played through Salotto.
So did you guys have to give like a presentation like you'd see on Shark Tank or something to kind of get the grant? And if so, who's the one that gave the presentation? And were you guys like, tell us about that moment? I want to know about that.
It was ridiculous, man. We didn't know our heads from our asses in terms of pitches at that point. And we like legitimately put a freaking high school slideshow together and did the thing and like pitched the idea to a bunch of non-pool playing, like people who had no clue about any of this stuff. And they were like, that's a really cool idea.
Wow.
It was comical. We got off the call and we were like, what did we just do?
And, we practice this pitch. Obviously we're passionate about this idea. So that was able to kind of keep us motivated and keep us in research because it was interesting to us. But for the pitch we did with the first group to win the money, I really don't remember what I said or how it went. It's like I went to this place of the unknown, and then they said, you guys did a really great job. And I thought, oh cool, thanks.
It's like that moment in Old School where he's like, I blacked out.
Yeah. When he's doing the Iron Cross. Yeah.
I was in the zone, I guess.
So I had a friend out here in Arizona who made a video recently, and your name came up in the video. And when it did, he brought it up like these big companies out there like Fargo Rate and Salotto. And so how many are you up to, like 140 employees?
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
we've got a 10,000 square foot building with 140 employees, all with full benefits,
Yeah.
just like raking it in. Yeah, my Porsche is buried in snow outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, tell
Our ticker
seriously,
is SLTTO on NASDAQ.
yeah, why don't you go through your organizational structure now? Let people know, the kind of what your company looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. How long is the show?
I got to go in a half hour. I don't know about Melina.
All right, we've got 2 employees.
Yeah. Well, two
We're looking at
traditional
them.
employees. So, we work with a lot of contractors and consultants. So, our goal is to keep our sort of, clerical work with payroll and government organizations to a minimum here. So we do a lot of 1099s and, contract labor like that. So
Smart
it's really
man.
good for us. We've got dozens of reps across the country. We work with 7 or 8 pros. So, we do have a team that's rather comprehensive, but it's just not traditional.
We're pretty lean. We want to keep our money going back into the industry. Our entire goal is to help pool grow in a healthy way. And by having reps around the country and sponsoring a lot of pros and working with you guys and being patrons of people who support the industry in the right kinds of ways, we're able to make a much larger impact on the industry rather than having a bunch of employees sucking it dry. You know what I mean?
Last year, less than 1% of our marketing went to traditional marketing sources. We spent almost 100% of our marketing dollars in the industry because we will grow this industry if we respect it and pay back into it. And that is exactly our plan.
Well, I love hearing that. And, Melina and I, when we first met you guys, I still remember, we're over there talking to you guys and, we kind of hit it off right away. And there was we could see your passion for pool and I think you could see ours.
Without a
And
doubt.
so
Yeah.
Melina and I walked away from your booth and we kind of went back to ours and we're like, man, we really like those guys. Those guys are super cool. They're really trying to do something cool and awesome. And so along those lines, has anything surprised you about kind of jump starting this business of the 1-versus-1 challenge matches? Has there been anything that's like, been difficult or, what are some of your challenges?
Yeah, there's been a few, and we can cover a couple aspects of the challenges that have popped up because they're kind of separated into 2 categories. One, the industry category, and 2, the business category. In the industry category, I guess it kind of applies to other subject matters for new frontier ideas too, that I'm sure a lot of people have gone through when they create something that's like totally new, right? I mean, this isn't a new tournament structure. We're not a league. It's completely different than anything the pool world has ever seen. And so that can be a little bit scary, I guess, for lack of a better term, for a lot of
Look at
people.
carbon fiber.
What's
Look at
that?
carbon fiber. Look at carbon fiber 5 years ago, and
Yep.
all the people knocking it online versus walk into the Rio, during the BCA Expo and see how many of those players are playing with the black shaft these days.
Yeah,
But at the beginning, there was a lot of throwing shade on them, for lack of a better phrase.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was new and it's not for everybody, but it's not you used to see and hear people knocking carbon that played with maple, and now they just play with maple and they're okay with the other person playing with carbon. Maybe it's not their thing, that's fine, but
Yeah.
it's rare that you see somebody going, look, hey, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
But it's all good. But the business side had its own challenges. I'll let Reed go into
Yeah.
that.
Well, I think surprise to me was gaining trust. I mean, we knew that this part of the industry, this part of the pool industry, the highly competitive amateurs and even up to the pros, like, we understood that it's kind of a big family, and we were connected with our local family. But as we branched out into like other segments and other areas of the industry, we realized that we had to earn people's trust, and that was a bigger barrier than we thought. Because we know, like, we're in this for the love of pool, and we know we're in this with financial backing, and we're not trying to leverage off the players. We're providing a service. Yes, we charge for it, but this is the whole plan. But for us to really show that we're kind of here for the long term and we respect the players, part of earning that has just been that we're still around, and the other part of that has just been connecting with reps in different areas and and providing that explanation as to how things work to earn the trust.
There's been a lot of sort of tiers of our adoption where we gain that trust Reed's talking about by way of connection, customer support, whether it's making sure that something's working for somebody if they have questions, or if we address a concern directly and help them get comfortable with that. We work a lot with tournament directors around the country, and I'll mention one in particular because I think he'd be comfortable with that. Jack Murray is one of our kind of more forward-thinking tournament directors who's really innovated with Salotto and just blended really well. But he just really kind of was. He wanted to have his concerns addressed early on, and we were able to kind of explain to him how we do business and get to meet him. And he saw that we actually could hold the cue stick, and there's been some black eyes on the pool industry from other businesses that people thought were similar to Salotto just before what we were doing. And so we kind of had to build trust in spite of that other kind of thing. So when Jack came along and kind of just saw how it worked, he was like, this is great. And so it was really neat to see somebody like a Jack take it in kind of under his wing and help it out, help it grow, and just make people understand what we do.
Yeah, he saw the upside of more pool and more verified matches, and Jack's truly about that.
Yeah, so I love what Jack's doing. It's cool. But I think in some ways with Mob and their high dollar entry tournaments, it creates more scrutiny on Fargo rate in general, and perhaps your app in terms of people getting, um, let's say, robustness and a proper score. And one of the things that we talked about in pretty good length last time you guys were on the show are some of the checks and balances that you guys have in place. And that's the thing when I see people who make a comment who are critical of Salotto, I think they don't fully understand. It's like they hear about this app. Me and Melina Mike could play each other, and we could work it out together. Hey, Mike, you're going to beat me 10-0, and my Fargo is going to go down. And they just kind of make those assumptions that we could work this out, and the scores go in, and we'll never get caught or anything like that. But recently, you've actually caught a few people, trying to game the system. And you also have checks and balances in place. So let people know like what you guys do to kind of, just keep tabs on that and make sure the scores are as legitimate as possible.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, collusion honestly is pretty rare, right? What you just described is two people agreeing to sacrifice their own integrity, put their access to Fargo rate, BCA, CSI, USAPL, and local tournaments at risk, all so they can play a match and potentially lower their Fargo rate 1 or 2 points, but only one person benefits from that, right? Like Mike, his next match that he sweats after he inflates his Fargo rate because you guys took a swing at a fake match, somebody's going to go like this and somebody's going to go like this. And so what ends up happening is this false teeter-totter that they think can occur. But, we found that the protections we have in place, all matches are public. If you guys try that and it's, the next day you're somehow down under the cap for your local AZ tournament, Joey, people are like, wait a minute. And they look at their thing and then they go to us and they're like, hey, did this really happen? What's the deal here? We can kind of take that process. But peer review is a giant part of this community governance. I mean, when you zoom out on the scenario that you just talked about, what we're really talking about is the integrity of pool as it grows and permeates new areas and new walks of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, industry-wide.
Does it show the fluctuation? Like if, let's say, pre this match, let's say it happened a month ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, Joey was at a, 690 and now he's at a, 685. And then I just happened to see like, oh, well, a week later there was a 685 and below tournament. Like, is there anything on the app where you can see where they were at, like how their Fargo was fluctuated throughout?
That's available in the Fargo rate app.
Yeah, in our app, no. The Fargo rate app, yes. And the cool thing with the Fargo rate app is it is designed to show public matches for free to anybody. So you can have the free version of the Fargo rate app, look up somebody's name and tap public matches, and you can see any Salotto match they've ever played that went to Fargo rate. It is not possible to have those matches as private. They are all public. It also requires 2 players with 2 devices, with 2 accounts with Salotto and 2 accounts, one each with Fargo rate and connected. So you talk about a trajectory of players, and we see a very good consistency based on the data we see from Fargo rate as a player and their journey over the past, say, 4 or 5 years. And then when that starts to go inverse and gets backwards, it becomes extremely obvious to our software.
So check out my rating trend. It's not very pretty, but you can see that line in the Fargo rate app.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's not bad.
We'll just won't talk too much about that. But
Did
Yeah,
you
I'll
lose
say
your vision?
Joey's. Yeah.
Did you go blind in
Joey's
your
in the
left
leaders.
eye, Colby? No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
yeah. I had hand surgery. I switched. I shoot right-handed now.
It's got to be an injury. There's some excuse.
Anyway, but when you look at all of these pieces that you put together, it paints a pretty nice. What's it called when you have all the little pictures that make up one big picture? It's
Oh, yeah,
mosaic.
It makes a mosaic. Yeah, it makes a really pretty mosaic that you can garner some info from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, there's a fee to do this. You'd have to pay to lie and cheat. You'd have to, you know, it's there's a whole bunch of different things in place. There's a question: does the system catch it, or does it take someone local to catch it and bring up the issue? Thanks, Chris, for that question. So that's a two-part question. One, community governance is a big piece of this, which is the peer review that we're talking about now. If you see somebody doing something weird, you can do two things. You can reach out to us, or you can check the Fargo rate app to see if they've actually used the product. The other side of that is, yes, we look at them. There's a whole match review team that looks at all the matches that come in each day. So there's kind of a two-part answer to that question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
Chris-
there is
Chris is-
software to detect anomalous results as well.
Chris is a friend of mine out here in Arizona, and you know I like to call him like the best private investigator you've ever seen. If somebody's gaming some
Right.
system, Chris is gonna catch him because Chris probably figured out a way to game it 15 years ago when he earned the nickname Weasel. But
And,
No,
and,
he's-
and a little
he's
shout out
he's
to
a room
Greg.
owner out here in Arizona, and he's a cool guy, and so he's stays up on this stuff. But there's
All right,
another
well,
question
I'm putting
too.
Chris on our watch list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the nickname like that,
With a nickname
Top-
like Weasel, man,
top
he's
10 automatic. Top
He's
10
going to have the red indicator.
without a doubt. Yeah.
Hey, he's good at catching people. He's not good at getting caught. So
Greg Hogue, who we know and love, he said Fargo's going down is the wrong idea. And, you know, we do, you know, we all know the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? We get that. But on the same side of things, there's hundreds of thousands of players out there that want to get better. And catering to the 0.5% is something we all end up doing in our daily lives in various aspects of it. But that's the right attitude, Greg. Like, we want to get better, you know, like I want to show up and have Joey be like, oh shit, he's a 650 now. Like he actually worked and got that good. Well, I guess I'll play him then, rather than you showing up and giving me break practice coaching, which, while helpful, was a little, you know, humiliating.
did it help?
Yeah, dude, it helped a lot.
How do you do in that match?
But anyway, yeah, like the goal is to get better, right? So we have to kind of understand that the general consensus is that the product is being used correctly. And we appreciate that. We appreciate honesty, and our customer service and our money back into the industry reflects all that. And our trust from TDs also reflects that. And it's nice to see that happen. People are good. There are good people out there, you know, but
Yeah,
we also know that not everybody's good.
How many players do you have using the app right now?
Well, in a given month, we've got about 2,500 active players.
Really?
So,
Nice.
you know, obviously this is something that fluctuates quite a bit, but, you know, in the software world, you look at MAU, monthly active users, and that's kind of about where we're at right now, which is a pretty sizable chunk of players.
Yeah. How large do you think that group could get?
I think
Realistically.
we could get into hundreds of thousands in this country in 5 years.
Right now, you guys fill a niche, a lot of different niches, but I think one is those players that don't have the ability to jump into a tournament because maybe they don't have one local that submits results to Fargo, like Molina Mike. One of my hopes for this year at Vegas was to get him robustness, so he'd be an official 200 robustness, but of course he came up short of that mark. He's still at like 170 or something. So we still can't.
It's 'cause you laugh.
Yeah, we have no idea how the guy
Well,
plays.
that I never play pool, so that's the other part of it.
Well,
Oh,
that's the thing. He lives in a place where there's no real like BCA league that's submitting to Fargo. There's not a lot of tournaments submitting to Fargo. And so for a guy like him, and we see this in various places throughout the country, I think your app is beautiful because folks can match up with their buddies, kind of like you guys were doing in the basement when you created this, right? And get those scores. And do you find that most of the users are kind of using it in that role, or is it a real mixed bag?
Uh, it's a bit more of a mixed bag. We see even in popular areas of BCA, USAPL leagues, where people are basically conditioned to Fargo rate. We see people using Salotto as a way to basically have a little more emphasis and verification on that match and add a little pressure to that. On the flip side, we see areas that are completely underserved with Fargo rate, like an APA territory and things like that, where we see a lot of users taking advantage of Salotto to make that home table competitive to get robust, right? So I really don't know what the ratio is, right offhand, but we're definitely seeing like a lot of different approaches to the usage. And as we gain more members, we're ultimately going to show more value in connecting with people you don't know and playing. And that's the cool thing because we're getting close to achieving that critical mass with our user group. So when we do that, then we're going to be able to show a little bit more value in connecting to other players too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that would preclude me from playing an APA match with Molina Mike, let's say, and prior to the match, saying, "Hey, we're gonna do this as a Salotto match."
That's a good question.
Yeah, the one key phrase you said is prior to making it known that you're going to do this thing. But with APA, they have a different rule system than Fargo rate. Like they have some ball spots, and crazy
Oh,
eights
yeah.
can count as a win. So we abide by our partners' rules: CSI, USA, BCA, Fargo rate. Those rule sets, because a game's outcome or a match's outcome can change drastically if you allow a crazy eight or if you allow slop to count and you don't allow safes or jumps or whatever it might be. So you wouldn't be able to do that because APA rules are different than the rule sets that contribute to Fargo rate data.
But the guy who lost the APA match by a stroke of luck can say, "I'll play you in the Salotto app any day." Play the real rules, right?
Right, I guess.
Got it.
There's a question from Chris again that says that asks about disciplinary action. And Chris, I'll speak only from the Salotto side, but we do align with our partners in terms of disciplinary action. So in egregious cases, there can be bans from all or some of the platforms. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of a case by case basis. Mm-hmm. And then there's another one, Doug. Most league operators from California are anti-Fargo. Not sure why. It can just be any various reasons. We don't really like to speak for TDs, but that's a question you should ask your local director.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
tends
think
to be a general resistance to the incorporation of something new.
look, so one of the things that I've said for a while, because I have my complaints not about Fargo rate, but about how tournament directors use Fargo rate to prevent people from playing in events. I get the fact that if I'm a 400 Fargo rate, I don't want to play a 700. I get that. But it seems like in certain regions of the country, there are so many of these capped events, and the tournament directors know that the magic formula is, hey, if we get the lower we can cap this thing, the more players I get, the more greens fees I get, and so we're running into that. And that's why I brought up the thing earlier when we were talking about Jack as well, and these high dollar entry fee tournaments and how a lot of them are capped by a certain number. Now, Jack does something cool. When he announces a tournament, he doesn't give the Fargo rate cap. He like has a drawing for that at some later date. So it's kind of cool. So nobody can say, "Oh, I'm a 582 if I only get down below 580," because when he draws the thing, it could be a 565.
Yeah,
It's kind of
right.
neat the way he
He's
does
clever
that.
that way.
That's a clever
Yeah.
solution. Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to
Yeah,
run a
but
cap tournament, you've got to have some things in place to ensure or do the best you can to prevent against these types of things. I mean, we all know if somebody's going to cheat, they're going to find a way. But I like the way Jack has gotten creative with that stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons we really like working with him.
And cap tournaments can provide a perverse incentive for those that lack the integrity, and that is a frustration with that format.
Yeah. So Matt Poland has a question that I don't think we want to answer because
I mean,
his
it doesn't further the conversation, and we're not interested in gossip. But
yeah, well,
you know,
not only
Matt,
that, but it actually could give somebody an idea of if
yeah,
you
right,
found
yeah.
something egregious,
Some
they could be like,
tips
"Oh,
for
I'm
you.
gonna try
Well,
that,"
I
you
mean, we
know?
can talk about like I guess some disciplinary actions or restrictions.
Yeah,
We obviously it's easy for us to ban somebody from Salotto, right? We hit a switch and they're done. They can create a new account, but they'll never be able to bind their Fogger rate again. So that's something that we do. If the infraction does cross over into other industries or our partners, business leagues or tournaments or things like that, then that result of banning can go further into anything under the CSI umbrella, and anything under the Fogger rate sanctioned events. So they could see bans from Fogger rate, Salotto, and CSI leagues.
it's
What's
hard.
that communication like between
Oh,
when
it's
you guys are
formal.
making
Yeah.
that decision?
Yeah, it's formal. There's
Mhm.
emails and phone calls and back and forth, and then that kind of stuff. But the end result for Chris's question is a lifetime ban, which is super sad to see. And we've only actually seen that just a few times. But um, zooming back out again, yeah, it's by and large it's going pretty well.
So that's one of the things that when I met you guys, and I think I've told you this before, you have this idea, and this idea is, hey, let's bring more pool players together,
Yeah,
right? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to Baton Rouge today. And so if I wanted to play somebody at a pool room, right? How does this normally work? You walk into a pool room and, while you're at the pool room, somebody's trying to say, "Hey, I'll play some for $100. I'll play some for 200." And they find out who you are. Well, you got to give me the 8. So there's all this negotiation and stuff, and it's like, well, hey, do you do the Salotto up? Yeah, okay, let's play. Boom, we play a match and we have fun doing it. And so the idea is so interesting, solid, and really respectable. But a lot of the conversation now is focused on the negative. So I kind of want to transition away from that. But before I do, I want to it's got to take its toll on you guys,
yeah. I
because
mean,
we know you have a heart to grow the sport. We know that
Yeah.
that's why I brought up the question about how big your business is. It's not
Yeah.
like you're raking in the money, driving
no,
Lamborghinis. You guys are doing this because you love the sport. And
yeah, no,
so, how
We're
how
not.
difficult has that been? That it's like,
It,
I would say that probably you guys deal with a lot of negative conversations and people who are, misinformed or have a little bit of information or maybe
yeah.
know one person that's tried to game it. Is it taking its toll on you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has. I've got to be honest. We have a lot of resistance, and I hate the word disruptive, but this is a disruptive service because it's something that's not been done before in this industry. But we come at this entire business with a passion for pool. That's what drives us. That's what's driven our pitches and our communications with investment groups to get 3 rounds of investments to keep this thing going, and to have the trust from our financiers to keep building this business. So with that, the service that we're providing is a tool. We're our own target audience, and we love to use this tool to play more pool. But we do see some people misusing the tool, and we're passionate about that. And integrity to our platform is paramount. That is the thing we take the most seriously. And when we see people that are in our pool family that opt to take advantage of our service, it absolutely adds up. We also see some caustic talk out there of people that assume our service is one thing, but it's not. A lot of times we see somebody that says, "Oh, this is so and so cheated and so cheated," and we look. 90% of the time, those people don't even have accounts. So there is, I think that kind of like vitriol and the social media bashing does add up after a while. But we're pretty fucking durable people, and we will not quit.
it's honestly one of those. I taught high school English for like 10 years, and dealing with some of the students and their behaviors honestly isn't too far off from a lot of behaviors that we see. But I also sort of enjoy the uninformed conversation because it really does open the door for us to build some trust and to educate people on what it is that we do, how we do it, and why we do it. And usually, by and large, they get it. There's always an opportunity there, and I really enjoy the connective piece that it has provided. I mean, we've both lost a lot of hair over the last 3 years, but it's been worth the journey, and pool's what we do and we love it, so it's been hard, but most things that are worthwhile are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I got to get out of here in a minute, so I'll probably just gently bounce out. Mike, you'll have to change the frame there.
When's your next
But
show start?
I know Melina. Well, I know Melina will continue talking to you guys. But one thing that I wanted to bring up was Chris Adams has been the star of the show so far, but he had a question that I think really deserves you guys to speak to, and it's the questions up on the screen now. I think it's a great question, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the most easy thing they can do is reach out directly to us and see how we can work together. That's kind of what Jack did. That's some other guys around the country have done that too, and that would be the best way, is to reach out to us directly, to communicate and connect, and that would be the quickest way. The other way is to start talking about it and using it, give it a try, download it, check it out.
We have a lot of cool formats to help engage tournament directors and league operators as far as how to use Salotto. Some of it would involve a local list. Some people do qualifying points. It's a good fit in a hard luck format. If you're 1 and out or 2 and out, you can continue your journey and in the room at that point and pick up a match. So yeah, there's a lot of creative solutions to incorporate Salotto, and it's a people's tool. So we see it fit and fill a lot of gaps.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I got to bounce out, but Melina's going to take it from here. I'm excited to work with you guys. I mean, from the moment I met you, I was excited to work with you. From the time we walked into that Mexican restaurant in Las Vegas and we
El
look at the
Tacos Gordo.
menus, we look at the
Let's go,
menu
boys.
and
Let's
it's
go.
all in Spanish, and we look over at Melina Mike and we're like, help. And he's like, I'm not that Mexican, homie.
no hablo español.
Exactly. Oh, that was classic. But I gotta jump on an airplane, guys. But I appreciate the time. Melina, take it from here, buddy.
All right, buddy.
Cheers.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I've said like
Thanks,
5
Joe.
words in the last 30 minutes, so thanks for letting me get a word in edgewise. No, listen, I can. I'm your guys' target audience because I didn't play leagues or tournaments or any of that. And going and sitting down with you guys, it was your passion and sincere enthusiasm is what let me have more of an open mind to at least exploring that, because before it just didn't interest me at all, to be honest with you, but now it's like playing with the purpose. And the more that you see Fargo rated capped events, it's a natural marriage, I feel like, to utilize that tool in a positive way. And I've seen it, man. My local area is more in the Stone Ages than most places around the country. And even now we're doing Fargo rated capped events, and these guys who are let's say 20 years plus older than me, they never heard of fucking Fargo rate in their life.
Right.
And so now there's ways to build their robustness, so when they're going and playing regionally, where like in the Valley or San Antonio or Austin or Houston, where it's more vogue, now there's ways for them to be able to build up their robustness, which is key, but like in a way in which it keeps integrity. And one of the reasons why I want to have you guys on, because we've talked in private, and the sincerity in your guys' voice. This is my daughter Madeline. What's that, babe?
Sauce makes it movie.
Okay, babe, you'll be all right. But that's why I wanted to get you guys on, is to talk about your where you come from, because I feel like the shitheads are usually the loudest ones. The critics are usually the ones with the voice that want to go on social media or on some of these groups and
True.
bark the loudest. But it blows my mind, because I know you guys. I've had conversations with you, and I'm like, these are the 2 most likable guys in the industry, and I've met a lot of people around the industry. And this is why supporting you guys was just kind of a no-brainer, and vice versa. Whatever we can do to help utilize our platform to help explain to people, listen, I'm a kind of guy where if you want to know something, come and ask me. You ain't gonna get no
we like that about you.
So
That's how we get along.
So that's why I was like, let's bring them on. Let's cut out the hearsay or the rumors, and one of the things that Joey talked about was the steps that are in place to keep the integrity, and I feel like that's just so paramount for what you guys are doing. And it takes a certain kind of individual or individuals to stand up and keep on pushing through and persevering. I got the world of respect for you guys.
Effort. It's a community effort. And these comments, Greg's comment, the people's tool to help you play more pool, Corn Pop, you have been great for the game. Keep striving for excellence. Like, those are the kind. That's what gets us out of bed in the morning. Like it's those kinds of things, man. You can get kicked in the teeth a whole bunch, but the second somebody shows up and uses it and loves it and is stoked on it, and it fulfills their need as a player to get into a tournament, for a tournament director who's got low entry fees because there's no Fargo rated events around, like that is the coolest damn thing to see, is when somebody gets their robustness up, or they get to that new high mark. We've got a lot of East Coast users, and they, will post up they finally got to 500, or they finally got to 525, or whatever their goal is, and to be a part of that journey is really fun.
And they're getting better at pool. In our local community, the people that are playing more Salotto matches are doing better in tournaments because they're able to replicate that pressure of set play that you can't necessarily replicate in leagues, or you can't necessarily replicate at home. But that having a digital record,
I like that.
Having a digital record of your match, and also submitting the results to Fargo Rate is something that puts that stamp on it, that adds a little bit more pressure, and then therefore you feel a little bit more comfortable in tournament play.
No, I feel like that's everything. Just building up that toughness to be able to compete. Because I think like fundamentally that's where we come from, right? It's like wanting to compete as pool players, or at least like that's the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with. Is like being able to play with people where that they're grinding just as hard as you are. It doesn't matter. And that's why I got a couple guys that are local to me, right? That I'll play with, but I'll play with them because I know that when they're bearing down, they're bearing down. And it's a lot of, I feel like is such a great use to be able to partner with that, because man, I want guys that are trying. I want guys who are going to be there fighting, and it doesn't matter where I go. Like me and Joey, we travel a lot, right? Kind of like what you guys do, and you also get to use that platform in order to meet more people that are like-minded, which is super cool as well.
Totally. Doug's question about getting established playing one or two players, you'd have to ask Fargo Rate about tethering and the way that works, but you'd want to play more than a few players. You want to have as diverse a player audience as you can.
It will build a more accurate rating.
So what's coming up in the next few months for Salotto? I know you guys just left the CSI Expo. Outside of plowing some snow, what's the next few weeks look like for you guys?
Well, here you go. I don't know if you can see the snow out there. Yeah, it's actually
all
too
you
bright
see is white. It
see.
looks like heaven. It looks like heaven.
Everything is white. But
it's ridiculous.
We're we're chugging along mid-season with the hit list. We're going to be coming up with some promotions for the mob.
What's that? Let me know, because I'm new here. So what is the hit list?
Yeah, it's a nationwide points-based player competition that Jack Murray invented. It allows for you to keep track, and you earn points based on your wins and losses against the opposite player. The points vary based on how much of an underdog you are. It's really a cool format. We have like a big season end finale with payouts and things and prizes.
We've got 4 tiers, for 4 Fargo Rate tiers. We've added $4,000 in payouts for the end of the season for that, so that's pretty fun.
Hold on, wait a minute. You guys are adding $4,000 to payouts.
Correct.
Yeah, man. We said our marketing money goes back into the industry. This is part of it.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome, man. So like if I'm playing within people in my region, or are we playing like digital matches online?
No, all in person. Salotto is all in person. But these are matches where you would play somebody in your area, earn points, and I would play Reed here, and we would earn points, and so we would kind of battle up and down the list. You down in Texas, us up here in Wyoming, and then at the end, there's a finale tournament where we kind of all would get together or whatever. You know what I mean? It's points based. Yeah,
and you can check out the Mob Hit List by Salotto on Facebook to get a little bit more on that, or reach out to us through support or whatever. But it's a really cool format. And in addition to that, we're also working on some new development, which is it's a long process, but we're in some testing, and we're excited to announce some new features for pro members here in the next month or two.
You ought to get with Jack and ask him more about the hit list. He'd love to talk about it.
Yeah. We intend on having Jack on. The problem with having Jack on, though, is that Jack is a little long-winded sometimes. Well, I told Jack, it's funny. So I told Jack, I said, listen, because he was one of the sponsors of the show for Vegas, and I love Jack. I love what they're doing. There's windows there for people to like try to game it, but like I love all the steps they take to try to keep the bullshit out of their tournaments, which I love.
Sure.
I love.
You need a chess clock with Jack.
Oh yeah. Well, I told him, I said, listen, just give me your payouts for your last tournament, right? And I was gonna do like a little reel, throw some logos up there. Okay. Then I get this video, it's like 3.5 minutes long. And I said, Jack, I just needed your payouts, man. It was like 4 places, this amount, this amount, this amount, 3.5 minutes. So then I ended up telling him, hey, listen, can you shrink it down some? Ended up to like a 20-minute back and forth conversation. I said, you know what? I got it. I'll figure it out. I'll follow up with you. Um, but no, I love Jack. I love what they're doing. I love, we talked about the pressure, but I love for amateurs to get chances at bigger slices of pie, right?
Yep.
But like be able to compete around people around my same speed, to where
Yeah.
I know I'm not going in, I'm not dead money anymore running
Yep.
into an event, right?
That's the
I'm
best
going
part
into it
about Fargo
knowing
Rate.
that, hey, we're going to be more or less in that same range. And on top of that, I can have a decent payday. So then I want to use this app to be able to really just toughen up as best I can,
Yeah,
leading
man,
up to it.
that's a good way to put it. Amateur pool players are like they're like the heart and soul of the industry. I mean, we all look up to the pros and see what they're using, just like any other sport. But the tight knit sort of feel of the amateur pool community is unlike anything else.
And we work with a lot of amateurs. We'll sponsor amateurs. We'll get entry fees covered for certain amateurs on a case basis and things like that. But we understand that I mean, that is what drives the industry is amateur play.
Explain to me the logic of sponsoring some pro players, boys, because it seems like it's pro players, they play amongst themselves only for the most part, it seems like, or
Mhm.
they're kind of the ones that are in that 720 plus range that'll say, well, there's no place for
Yeah,
us to play, and so
that's a good
explain that
question.
logic to me.
They're ambassadors. I mean, some of these
Mhm.
guys are true ambassadors. You see a guy like the Nikon kid walking around, and he's helping all these young kids play pool and get better, and
So no
believes
jerks allowed is what you're saying then.
that.
That's a check mark, right? That's
Right.
We got to check
Yeah.
all the
yeah.
boxes.
No, we just brought on Nick Daly on, and it's for that reason because while the pros are a little bit isolated and their own right, they're still very accessible by the amateur market. I mean, there is no other event in the world where you can go and stand 10 feet away from the Tiger Woods of their respective sport, watch them play, and then go play your own game, and they're going to walk past you. Like, it just doesn't happen anywhere. And that sort of connection is really unique here. And people like Nick and Blaine and some of these other guys that we sponsor, they're true ambassadors and aim to connect with the audience, which is the coolest part about it.
Yeah, both those guys I like personally and respect their game as well. So it was more for the sake of just asking the question, but I got a lot of love for both of them. I think both of them are good, like upstanding pool players in
Yeah.
general. Like I like who they are as people,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and then the fact they play great pool is just a plus. So I think you guys
Totally.
pick
Literally.
great people
Yeah.
like that is amazing, and it's a reflection of you guys. And that was one thing. Listen, I've said this my whole life, and I've kind of gotten away from it, like the busier that things get, you lose that personal touch with people. But I feel like, and I've said this so many times, if people know who you are, they'll want to go patron you that much more because they want to support you, right?
Mhm.
And that was one thing that I caught right off the bat. It was like, what can we do to help, you guys out? Not that you were asking for help, but it was more of like, these guys are such good dudes. Like, I want to get behind that kind of passion. I want people like that around me 24/7 because I feel like if we get more people like that in the industry, the sky's the limit, boys.
Amen, dude. You too.
Yeah, fully agree. Thank you so much.
No, yeah, for sure. We have a lot of fun online, and you can't you can't get away from some of the things that are said. But at the end of the day, like we all want to drive in the same direction, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally.
And what you guys do is a great way of getting more people in pool rooms, get more
Mhm.
people competing. That means they're going to go buy more cues, they're going to go buy more cloth and chalk, and
Yep.
everything just
Yep.
kind of
It
works with one
grows.
another where one hand washes the other. And you guys, it may have been new back in 18, but it's such an important part now in like this modern day of pool, I feel like.
Thanks,
Mhm.
man. That's
Yeah.
that's really well said, and we really appreciate it more than you know. And if you can hook Chris Adams up with us, that'd be awesome. He's got some good questions. We're stoked to catch up with him. But
Yeah, just hit us up on Facebook.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's I don't know what else to say, man.
Yeah, I mean, we love what you guys do. It was an honor to meet you. I'll never forget standing next to you, Mike, in 2019 or no 2020, watching the match. I look over, and I mean, you look more like Molina Mike than Molina Mike looks like Molina
Uh,
Mike. And
I'm gonna go towards going beardless again. You know,
Don't do
just
it. That's good
I'm getting
luck.
re-inspired. I'm getting re-inspired here.
We're gonna trade.
No,
I'll grow a beard next week.
we over here at Doggin it, you know, we don't have a ton of sponsors. A lot of them are more like family more than anything else. You know, James, I work with building queues, and me and him have been doing business together for, you know, but he's like family. You know, my kids have been there.
yeah,
I'm part of one PKT. I got hard times up there because, you know, Oscar and Desiree are huge supporters of ours. Sandra at Moonlighting, and now you got over here, you got the Salotto app, and as a part of our sponsors. But at the end of the day, integrity, like what you guys talked about, it's important to me too. You know, so when I see people have negative things to say, I take it personal because I want to defend
Right.
and stand up for my family, right?
Yeah. Amen,
And so
dude.
we're going to have you guys on more regularly. We're going to showcase some of these mob hit list players. Any of you
Right.
guys who are playing Salado, we're going to come up with fun ways to give stuff away and to highlight you guys and to do more stuff in amateur pool. So this is the first of many conversations that we'll be having with these two boys. Hopefully it'll be less snow the next time that we see you. Um, but let them know, how can they download the app? How can they support you? How can they get some gear? Because I see that fresh jersey that you're rocking as well. Let everybody know.
Jam Up.
yeah,
They
man.
make the best stuff, man.
Yeah, we're
They
partnered
do.
with Jam Up. You can check out our website to order any of the Jam Up stuff. It's dye sublimated. It's really cool products. Yeah, we've got hoodies and track jackets and joggers. And then we've got a few shirts for sale on our website, but we really kind of like to connect with people that want to build Salado in their areas. And we can help them out. We can send them a little swag if they want to get a list incorporated or something like that. Like, we're hands on. We want to build trust with the communities that are using Salado, and we want to be there for that. And we're easy to contact. You know, I mean, you ask anybody that's reached out to support, and it's likely that Colby or me responded to the ticket. You know, so anyway, download the app Salotto on the App Store.
What does
And
that mean, by the way?
that's a really good question.
It's Italian for parlor,
Nice. Okay.
like waiting room, right?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yep.
Because when we had designed this initially, the idea was that you could go somewhere and it would be like a dating app for pool players. You know, like you could just find a player right away. And what we then realized is people wound up using it more to make their matches count with the people that they already play.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna have like pictures and things of interest as a part of the
Eventually,
Salado app?
yeah,
Yeah.
eventually we will.
Yeah.
It just takes
And you
time.
might
Because
you might
there's some
you might
secrets
get a
we're
lot more
working on.
pings in your DM, boys. I'm just saying, you know, a lot more swiping right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
No,
That's
listen,
funny.
we appreciate you guys. We look forward to all the new features you guys are going to be showcasing, and we'll be glad to have you on to help announce that and support you guys. So, thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. Joey and I will be having our usual show, I think, sometime the next day or two. So, stay tuned for that. And yeah, go show them some love. In the meantime, I got a pamper to go change. So we'll see you guys
No
later.
worries. How's that artwork looking? Ooh, look
Hey,
at
thanks
that.
everybody. I saw Norbert said hi from
Yeah.
Austria. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Hello.
good connection.
Oh yeah, wait, because I ain't hit the live button yet. So where all is Salado being used right now? That's a really good point.
Mostly in North America, but we're seeing you know, a little bit of use in Australia and a little bit of use in Europe. Not quite a lot yet. We don't really have any established reps there yet. So you know, North America, USA, and Canada are the big usage countries right now.
Yep.
Well,
And
that means there's opportunity. Start doing it in your city.
Yes,
that's right.
there is.
Absolutely. Reach
And we
out to
will
us
help.
directly. I'm Colby. This is Reed. There's a question asking who we are.
Yep.
Hit us up directly on Facebook. You can, message us through Instagram, whatever works. Just reach out. We'll be happy to catch up.